right, so if you're in the shooting sports or outdoor space, particularly as a manufacturer, as a rep, and even as a retailer, there's some cutting edge stuff coming down the pipeline. And we thought it was pretty pertinent that we get this information out so that you can really capitalize on the changing market. I'm Charles with Buying Freedom Group. We've got Ryan here, and this is a product that we have just rolled out, but really it's multiple products that work in concert to connect manufacturers directly with dealers with a plethora of data that gives you some unreal growth potential. Um, Ryan, thanks for jumping on. I know we've been working on this for a while, and yeah, it's kind of time to get this out in the world. So let's jump in and kind of see how we can really explain what Buying Freedom Group is, what it does, and how every manufacturer needs to book a demo.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I think that there's value here for everyone, kind of as you said, in that from manufacturing to retail, all the way to the end consumer too. We create a process that makes it simpler, quicker, just more efficient to get a firearm in your hands. Whether that's just a magazine that you want to go pick up from your local store, or a special order firearm from one of the more high end manufacturers in the spaces, right? And the dealer locator is I guess the first tidbit of that. Do you want to talk a little bit, Charles, about exactly why our dealer locator is so much different than the dealer locators of the past or even the present?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's interesting, if you are new to the firearm space, you've got to unlearn a lot of things because it's typically, 10 to 15 years behind conventional retail until now, right? So consumers are used to, going to their grocery store, their department store, and knowing, right, on the drive over, hey, this item is in stock, and it's on, aisle 7, bin B. In the outdoor space, that does not exist. So if you're really hyped up to get a particular item, you go to the manufacturer's website, you find a list of 20 dealers, and then you stop by after work, and they're like, "Oh, well, we don't have that actually here, but we have a hat from that manufacturer. Yeah, we are a dealer. We just don't have any of their stuff today."
I do have
But
this other gun for you, though. Let me show it to you.
exactly, yeah. So it's like can feel like a bait and switch for the consumer, and it's just not a very clean process. Um, what we've done is actually connected inventory to around 2,000 FFL dealers, brick and mortars out there across the country, right? So that's going to give you, as the manufacturer, incredible coverage. And this is giving live inventory, real time inventory. So now your consumer can go to your website looking at XYZ product, find who actually has that in stock literally today, and make that purchase for pickup, even right there. Now the other cool thing is, right, manufacturers, you want to support your dealer network, and we do that a few ways with this. Number one, you actually get a backlink to the manufacturer site from the dealer site, so you're actually going to just out of the gate boost your search optimization for your firearms, for your optics, for your accessories across thousands of e-commerce sites. So that's great. And then of course that's now supporting your dealer. As you can see here, we also have the ability to tag elite dealers, or even if maybe you've got a firearm that is available to rent at a range, that can be denoted, right? So you can actually get people into an experience with your product, and that's just going to really create a lot better brand value both for your consumer as well as your dealer network.
Yeah, I love the idea of being able, like, I can go right now, like, what's a good example? Home Depot, right? If I need to build a birdhouse for my wife, I know that I can go to Home Depot and the screws that I need, the wood that I need is all, like you said, in stock on a certain aisle in a certain bin. And I can go there, I can buy it, and I can leave. The other thing I can do is I can go ahead and buy it from my house and then just go over there and pick it up and it's ready to go. The system has the capacity to give you all of those modern buying functions in an industry, like you said, that is typically decades behind from a technological standpoint. So from the manufacturer's perspective, it's it's as simple as giving us a list of the current SKUs that you have, letting us upload those, and then we automatically go look at all of our connected technology partners to understand where those SKUs live in live inventory. Right now, we're checking it at a cadence of once a day. As far as the analytics is concerned, and we'll get into that a little bit more as we continue to go. But as far as the actual product data and inventory is concerned at the store, the moment a transaction takes place, a webhook is activated, and then that inventory is deprecated. So it is truly live inventory. So, I'm making a point to really stress that, because this industry is so far behind. It's we're not taking a small jump towards bringing the kind of modernizing this industry. We're taking a huge leap. So I just want to make sure that we're calling that out, that it is truly modernizing the industry from the perspective of driving intelligence to the consumers. Would you agree, Charles?
Yeah, totally. And you got to think about it as an ecosystem, where, great, you've got the best in stock dealer locator in the outdoor and shooting sports space, but right, that's just sort of the Trojan horse in a way, for the manufacturers, because you're giving your consumers that stock visibility, but on the back end, you as the manufacturer get that visibility of, hey, what is in stock of your products out across thousands of retailers? How fast is it selling? What are those turn rates? And what dealers are selling your product? And here's the cool thing, because of the way that the distribution works in the outdoor shooting space, a lot of times manufacturers lose total line of sight of where their inventory is. They might be sold out in distribution, but all that product is sitting on the shelf. Here's the cool thing. With your Buying Freedom Group backend, you're going to be able to actually see, hey, who has my inventory in stock? Who's out of stock of particular items? But the other great thing is you actually control your product data and pricing, your mapped pricing, all of that directly on the end dealer sites, right? So you can, largely eliminate, dealing with map issues, 100% eliminate it for any of our connected partners, which again is around 2,000 FFL dealers. But it gives you a lot of power because you can actually make market wide changes, right, that are drastically affect your sales. So if you see that you've got, 2,000 units of a product that's not selling, with a click of the button, you can change the map price, and that goes into effect across, thousands of retailers. And so, boom, now you're going to instantly increase those sales. You can also check, store inventory, right? So this is a great tool for your sales team, and see where exactly is my inventory out in the market. You can even heat map that out, and see where your inventory is.
Yeah, I like the fact that the dealer locator, it's the dealer locator is always what we lead with, right? Charles, when we're out, we're at SHOT Show or we're at the NRA show or whatever, we always lead with the dealer locator because it's so neat. It's one of those things that everybody's always wanted. But the funny thing is, it's just a small ancillary product from this overall data set that we have. And so, from a business intelligence standpoint, yes, it's amazing being able to show your consumers exactly where firearms are so that they can have a more efficient buying experience. But like you're saying, on the back end, you're able to come in here and see, typically we load a pallet onto we load a bunch of boxes onto a pallet. The pallet goes into a truck, and then that truck gets sent to distribution. And the moment that pallet leaves your warehouse, you're kind of in a position where visibility, business intelligence visibility into that inventory is gone. It's left. That's always been good enough in this industry. And now we're able to kind of reacquire the location of all that inventory as it arrives to the retailers. So you're able to have this additional visibility beyond, significantly beyond where you were before, all the way to, I see, we've got the demographics button there. So it's a matter of, now you know where it's going and into whose hands it's going. So you can make more intelligent sales and marketing decisions. In today's market, where you're able to actually pivot where your marketing dollars are being pushed to individual cell phones and things of that nature. It's just really cool information to have, to be able to say, I want to push to this exact demographic in this exact region, this exact firearm. And
Exactly. Yeah.
that's something. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say yeah, and then you even get your data compared to the overall market, right? So you can see how you're performing against the rest of the market. And the cool thing is, we're going to identify dealers that you didn't even know were selling your product. As part of that, right, you can actually push out, directly to their point of sale systems, their e-commerce systems, stocking dealer ordering, stocking dealer programs, range programs. That is all managed directly between you and the dealers, and you've got visibility on what they're selling, and literally get a notification, oh, hey, this dealer fell below their threshold of inventory to be a stocking dealer, for instance, right? So now oh, hey, we got to push these guys out of PO. But right, especially coming into the holidays, right? We also have the sales velocity tool that's going to give you a preemptive strike, right, on making sure that your retailers have enough inventory to stay in stock, particularly during the busy seasons. So like the delta on sales and margin are incredible because you're going to be making sure that these thousands of dealers, right, they aren't selling out by the 25th of the month and not reordering until mid next month when they finally realize it. So a lot of power with the sales velocity tool.
Yeah, the sales velocity is totally cool. You had a really good idea the other day as well. As we get into the holiday seasons, like we were talking about, we've got Black Friday, we've got just general Christmas, we've got hunting season. Just overall, it's fall now, and the idea you had around giving people the visibility into everything that's in a suspended sale type, right? So layaways
Pulling
and or
layaways. Yeah,
yeah, and so talk about that a little bit because I thought that was really cool as we get into this era of interesting sales, right, at the fall
yeah.
time. But just to give a highlight at of the level of granularity that we have in this data and how it can be pivoted to a sales team or a marketing team and a manufacturer.
Yeah, so the cool thing is we actually have the ability to look at different transaction types. It's kind of funny. A lot of people still use layaways in the outdoor and shooting sports space. I know a lot of people think that's, I was back in the Sears days of retail. But to be able to say, hey, November 10th, oh wow, there's 600 units of XYZ item on layaway. Well, we know, 90% of those are going to eventually sell. So we need to get replenishments in behind those units, so that, come the last dash before Christmas, right, there's that backup inventory. So, that's going to, potentially double the sales, right, of every unit that was on layaway. And you'll be able to make informed decisions with that velocity tool.
Yeah, I really love that. I think the overall experience the manufacturers are going to be able to have as it relates to the small retailers is going to be hugely impacted by the tool. I know that the big box stores have always shared data ish. Well, highlight that with a big ish, right? They've shared the data for the most part. You get a weekly update depending on which big box stores you're going through. SPS is one of the big data sources for some of that, or repositories, I guess we would want to call it. But the the retailers, the smaller retailers, have always just been this big black hole of data, and being able to put all that together now, from big box store data all the way down to the smallest mom and pop store that's in your neighborhood, and being able to make those sales and marketing decisions holistically across the entire market, I think is something that's really unique to the tool that we've produced here. But the other thing I want to talk about, I mentioned the distribution and warehousing and loading that pallet and shipping it out and doing all those things. But for those manufacturers who are modernizing their own operations, whether that be ERPs and warehouses, and kind of obtaining the ability to drop ship, for
Hmm.
those manufacturers, we also have the tool where we're able to do direct ordering. And that, I think, is something that is really going to upend the industry as a whole. Do you want to kind of cover
Yeah.
that? Uh,
Oh, it's so exciting, right? So
yeah,
again, right, if you're new to the shooting sports industry, maybe you're trying to develop a product and you want to get it out there into the hunters, into the tactical shooters, the self-defense crowd. Well, it's a little bit of a walled garden. You got to try to get your product into distribution, and that's a tall order. with us, right, you as the manufacturer have direct access to list your inventory, both for stocking orders as well as drop ship, to thousands of FFL locations. So, automatically your product's going to populate, on some of the top e-commerce outdoor and shooting sports websites. Now, instead of that being kind of fulfilled through distribution, that order goes directly back to the manufacturer. So this is great for large established brands in the space, but it's really exciting for those small brands, right? For the innovators out there, right? That if you've been to SHOT Show and you go down to the basement and there's the like inventor, designer, marketer, business owner that come up with some cool new product. Basically, we can like take 10 years off of his sales timeline because we're giving him direct selling access to thousands of dealers. So just super cool. Now the manufacturer can control, hey, do I want to allow direct drop ship for every FFL out there? Or you know what? If you participate in our stocking dealer program where you're uploading a picture of my end cap with my imagery, and I've got a sticker on the register, right? You can set your stocking dealer terms. If you do that, then you're going to be on the top of the list of the in-stock dealer locator, and you get direct from manufacturer drop shipping, right? So that's where it all kind of ties together. Just a great way to really grow buy-in. And the cool thing is, right, it's those smaller to mid-sized dealers that create brand value for the manufacturers, right? Because it's like those are the guys that are excited. They got kind of brand affinity. They're going to be hyped to sell your products, a lot more than maybe some of the larger outlets. So this is a great way to really engage with, kind of that middle segment of dealers across the country.
Yeah, and I mentioned that warehouse complexities and all that. A manufacturer has to be able to do some of the drop shipping, things of that nature. But as you're talking about some of those smaller manufacturers too, that are still in process of getting into distribution, I don't want anybody to think that, oh, there's these complexities that I need to be able to overcome, because we've solved a lot of that. And this doesn't need to be a 2-hour video. We could easily make it one, because there's so many different business units, as you can tell, within BFG, from the dealer locator to analytics, business intelligence, direct selling. But one of the other things that we've done is we've worked with UPS as a carrier to integrate shipping rates and everything into the ecosystem. So
Yep.
there's all those little tidbits of kind of complexity that you as a manufacturer would think, oh, I've got to figure out how I'm going to do this and that. You really don't. You supply us with your your list of products that you want to sell. We digitally push those products into a couple thousand stores, and as those products sell, you simply log into your dashboard, you see what's sold, you click a few buttons to actually put them in a box and print a shipping label, and then out the door it goes. So
Exactly.
we've eliminated a lot of that. But Charles, what else am I not thinking of? Right, we've covered the dealer locator and direct selling and business analytics, but what else is out there?
Yeah, I mean, some other great things, right? You've got again, like the map piece. Even if you like, oh well, we're not big enough to have map pricing. Well, now you are, right? Because it's like it's one button. And then again, that goes back to the dealer support, right? Most of your dealers don't have time to be dealing with all these map changes when most of the time it wasn't their fault that there was a map violation, right? It's the telephone game through the conventional information flow, but you also have the ability to push rebates, right? So you're going to create a lot of like, good faith with your manufacturers, while increasing sales. So that's another great component there. And then here's the other cool piece is you control even your imagery, right? We can even do 3D and augmented reality imaging of your products, and that automatically is going to show up on thousands of FFL ecom and POS systems. So that's super cool as well, having that 3D capability, or even just embedding a video, right? You're going to stand out compared to, right, your average manufactured product with just kind of a stale stock image.
Yeah, I love the idea of the manufacturers being in control of the data, right? So you're going to send us the images you want to use. You're going to send us the descriptions you want to use, and we're going to force that into all these websites. And that just keeps brand equity really nice. You don't have to worry about sending an image to somebody and then them writing a description that just says Keltec gun, right? You're
Yep.
going to get the full description and titles and all the stuff that you want from a data perspective. But I mean, the ability to have something like this when you're a smaller manufacturer that doesn't have the manpower, as you put it, like to do some of those things. You don't have a map pricing gal or guy in the back room. You don't have somebody that can do 3D renderings in the back room that's running your website and all of those things. It's really just a massive efficiency. Even when you were showing the inventory in the actual business intelligence area, that is something that is just creating extreme levels of efficiency in a smaller business. So as inventory levels get low, we can alert you. You no longer have to have regional sales people that are out constantly checking with all the different retailers. So um, again, Charles, we could make a 2-hour video pretty easily, but if somebody's interested, and I know everybody is, like we've literally shown 5 things that didn't exist in this space a year ago that we've been working on. How do they get a hold of us? What's the best way to reach out? Like, what's the process to actually get involved with the program?
Yeah. So yeah, just buyingfreedomgroup.com will have the links below here. Click there and you can just book a demo. Um, that'll go to us, right? We'll actually can show you where your inventory is out in the country. So that's a great place to start. And then it's as simple as just getting your product data, uploading it, and in pretty quick order, right? You've got your in-stock dealer locator, you've got your 3D image on, thousands of systems. You got direct ordering, set up and going, and you're controlling map price across the board. So super simple, plenty of time, right, to get that rolling here before the holiday push. If you kind of start this week, basically. So
Yeah, let's get it going, right? We've got SHOT Show coming up too. We'll be there, wandering around and talking to all the manufacturers. But if you guys, dig any of this stuff, if any of it's cool to you, whether it's the 3D rendering, whether it's the business intelligence tools, the live dealer locator, actually being able to see product, hit the like button. Make sure that you share this with any of the other manufacturers or your buddies out there that might be interested in checking this out. And if you have any questions, feel free to just put it in the comments, and we'll be monitoring and we can answer those questions. I know not everybody wants to just go straight to a demo, but we do have a team that'll be standing by to answer any questions you may have. So send them our way.
right on. Yeah. And same if you're an FFL, right? If you are a shop and you stumbled across this, let your reps know, right? If you want direct ordering from manufacturers, ping us a note too, right? We can get you set up with the direct ordering. We can get you set up with great shipping rates. So now you've got the best handgun shipping prices that you can buy from the manufacturer and then send out the back door. Kind of win-win all around. But yeah, we'll see everyone at SHOT Show in a few months and snag a demo and we'll go from there.